Today's masterclass is entitled Diets Do Not Work, and they really don't. And I hope that throughout this masterclass, you'll start to understand why they don't work. But I also want to show you not just why diets don't work, but 3 ways in which you can manage your weight and feel amazing without counting calories or spending hours in the gym. And you can say hooray. So let's get started. I'm going to show you 3 simple strategies that you can use to manage your weight without following a diet. Now, this isn't just for those of you who need to lose weight. It can also be if you just want to feel more comfortable, more confident in your body. Everything that I'm teaching you today, it can apply to it even if you just want to lose a little bit of mummy tummy after you've had some kids, or it can apply to if you've got more significant amount of weight to lose. So don't get too hung up on like the losing weight thing, because we can all feel that we've got weight to lose, even if technically we don't really. By the end of our time together, you're going to understand why diets don't work and 3 simple strategies that you can easily implement. And as a thank you for joining me live, and truly I am so grateful. And if you're not joining me live, but you're catching the recording, I'm super grateful for you as well. If you decide that you like the sound of my offer, I have a special bonus only for those people who did register for the masterclass. And I will tell you about it at the end. So you're in the right place if 1, you are done with dieting. So this can apply to those of us who, follow a strict diet or calorie count, or are just really unsure about what to eat and constantly looking and trying new faddy things, which, I can put myself in that category. In the past, I have so many different diet books. And the reality is that there are so many out there, because what works for one person isn't necessarily what works for another person. And that's really important to remember. There isn't a one size fits all. So you're in the right place if you're wanting to find out simple strategies that do work and don't mean that you have to keep on looking for alternatives. And 2, you just want to feel comfortable and confident in your body. And I think this is, from my perspective, this is what so many women struggle with, is just really feeling comfortable and confident in their body. And it's such a great shame. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but you look back at a photo of yourself, say 10 years ago, and you know that 10 years ago you had negative thoughts about yourself or the way you looked. And now you look back and you're like, oh my God, if only I saw myself for who I truly was. Now remember, that's happening right now. You don't have to wait 10 years to look back at yourself now. It's happening right now. You are amazing and you're gorgeous and you're beautiful. And I really want you to know that about yourself. And 3, you're in the right place if you are willing to try something different. And if not, maybe you don't want to hang around to hear what I'm going to say. So just a little about me in case you don't know me so well. I'm obviously a mum and also a wife, so my husband will be very upset that he is in that picture. I just couldn't work out how to format the photo so that he was still in the photo. So he is there next to my eldest daughter making that beautiful face. So my girls are called India and Jasmine, and they are turning 4 and 8 this year. And I'm also a yoga teacher. So I actually accidentally became a yoga teacher. I had finished my university degree I went to Bristol, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. You probably maybe experienced the same thing of at certain times of your life, not being sure what you want to do next. And all I knew is that I loved yoga. And so I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to learn more about yoga. And it wasn't actually ever with the intention that I was going to become a yoga teacher. I just thought, what a great time to go to Australia, really beautiful place in Australia called Byron Bay, and learn more about yoga. And then when I came back to England, I had thought that I knew what I wanted to do, which was to become a psychologist. And so I applied to do a postgraduate and got a place at a university. But whilst I started my postgraduate, I obviously wasn't earning any money. And so I started to teach friends, and then friends of friends, and then friends of friends of friends. I started to teach them private yoga. And after the year of my postgraduate, I realized, rather than going on to do a master's and become a psychologist, maybe I could see what it was like to run my own business and to be a private yoga teacher. And so that was a decision that I made, over 15 years ago now, and it was a really fantastic decision. But because I teach privately, so typically I don't teach group classes, I obviously had very close relationships with the women and the men who I was teaching. And so I found that they were leaning on me for other things, not just for yoga, which obviously I love teaching, but also other things, and particularly nutrition. And so that's when I decided to also become a health coach. And so I took the opportunity on maternity leave to study to become a health coach, which was a year-long training, and it was fantastic, and I loved every minute of it. And then from there, that's when I started this business, as it's called, Breathe, Eat, Meditate, which is more of an online business, and started to learn more about blogging and things like that. So I have truly helped many women to understand more about themselves and to understand the importance of mindset. It's a big thing that I teach, whether it's in yoga or whether it's in health coaching or whether I'm just your friend. That's the kind of thing that will always be very present in what I teach, is the importance of mindset, because I honestly and truly believe that there is nothing more important than the thoughts that we have, and that's about ourselves and about others. And I've helped people to learn how to nourish themselves with the foods that they eat on a nutrient dense level, but also how to love and take care of yourself, and to nourish yourself with self-care as well. And so I've moved myself I've been on this journey too, because of course you can't teach what you haven't experienced for yourself. So I've learned from seeing food as calories and exercise as punishment, to understanding that food is nourishment and that I am worthy of love. And this is an amazing transformation, and is truly what I hope for every single woman. So can you imagine what it would feel like if you felt complete freedom with food and comfortable in your own skin? And so again, it's to do with our perspective, because to others we can look amazing and we can have an incredible body, but if we don't have that belief in ourselves, if we don't have that confidence within ourselves, then we're not seeing ourselves for the truth that we really are. And I believe that learning to truly take care of yourself, to nurture and nourish your body and soul, is the single most important task on our to-do list. So hands up if you've got so much to do and you constantly put yourself at the bottom of the pile. This, I think, is a mistake that we all make, and something that we need to address. Because don't think that taking the time to look after yourself is selfish. It really truly isn't, because how you show up for yourself is then how you're going to show up for the others around you. So the more that you fill your own cup, the more that you'll be able to take care and be loving and kind to the others around you. So it's not selfish, it's truly the most important work that we have. So in this class, I'm going to explain to you, as I promised, why diets don't work. Then I'm going to share with you the flaw with calorie counting. Then we move on to one of the 3 strategies, the principle of crowding out. So this is one of the ways in which you're going to learn how you can nourish yourself and not ever think about dieting again. Why I love intermittent fasting and the benefits of intermittent fasting. Then also the benefits of cleansing, and if you would like to, how you can work with me. And then there'll be some time for any questions that you have that you can pop in the chat or in the Q&A function. And I will get to any questions at the end. So please go ahead and put any comments in the chat, but I won't be checking them until the end because I don't want to get distracted. So first of all, why diets don't work. So I just want you to put in the chat if you have ever been on a diet before. And I've put my hand up for that. I have definitely tried my fair few. I also want to know if you've tried a diet before and it hasn't worked. And my guess is the likelihood is yes. So let's look at why they don't work. And I could spend much longer on this subject, but obviously for the sake of time, I'm going to boil it down to 3 main reasons why diets don't work. So first of all, they are too restrictive, meaning that you get forced into eating a small selection of foods, and ultimately you end up getting hungry. They are also really black and white. So that means that if you fancy a slice of pizza and it's not on the allowed list, you feel that you've then blown it. And once you've blown it, well, you may as well throw the bathwater out with the baby, or the baby out with the bathwater, and, eat the tub of ice cream, or, eat whatever it is that you want, and you basically end up binging. And then it becomes about willpower. And so you feel all those emotions, you feel guilty, you're disappointed in yourself, you feel full of shame, all of those kind of things. And so it becomes a battle. It becomes about willpower. Are you strong enough to follow this really restrictive diet? Rather than listening to the innate wisdom and intuition of your body. And let me just say, your body is incredible. It is miraculous, and it knows what it's doing. So to go to battle with it, to fight against it, you're already on the losing side. So let's talk about diets, and you can think about any diets that you've tried for yourself. Really, they're a short-term fix. And even if you do lose weight at the beginning, the reality is that you will end up putting on more weight than you've lost. And I'll explain why that is in a second. But if you think about going on a diet, it tends to be a short-term fix. And what happens is that we experiment with it. Perhaps we get some good results at first, and then we don't want to do it anymore. And so we stop following the diet, but we've followed a restrictive eating pattern, which means typically that we've eaten less calories, and the result is that we slow down our metabolism. So let me explain what metabolism means, because I know it's a word that gets thrown around, and it's a very simple meaning. Basically, our metabolism is how we convert our food and what we eat and drink into energy. So how we convert what we eat and drink into energy. That's the basis of our metabolism. So on an average diet plan, you tend to eat less, and typically there is a movement now changing this, but typically it's about eating less fat, which is just incorrect information. And what happens when you go onto this diet? You feel hungry, you feel low, you feel miserable. And then what happens is you stop eating less, and you end up gaining more fat than you lost. Because when you go back to eating what you were eating before you went on the diet, you are now putting it into a destroyed metabolic system. So remember, our metabolism is how we convert food and drink into energy. And we want that system to be working well for us. We want it to be working efficiently. When we consume too few calories, or we restrict our diet too much, then we affect our metabolism. We affect how we convert that food into energy. So eating less is not an effective strategy for weight loss. And I hope that all made sense. So going on a diet quite often also uses the format of counting calories. And again, I'm going to explain now why there's a flawed principle to counting calories. So first of all, it's important to note that a calorie is not a calorie. And you might be like, what? How is that true? Because you may have heard that it doesn't matter what you eat, a calorie is a calorie. You can eat a donut, or you can eat a salad and, you know, with nuts and all sorts of things. And it doesn't matter, because if the donut's 500 calories and the salad is 500 calories, it's going to have the same result. That is incorrect. The quality of the calories we consume either stoke or smother our metabolism. So think about a log that you'd place on a fire. And you place that log on the fire and it takes a while to burn. Now take a little bit of kindling, put that on the fire, and it snaps it up and it crackles it up very, very quickly. So the food we consume has the same influence. It will either be that big log or it will be that quick kindling. And we want those big logs. So the more nutrient dense our calories are, the longer they take to burn. So nutrient dense, by that I mean a whole food diet. I mean lots of vegetables and fiber. I mean legumes and good quality proteins, whether they're vegetarian or not, healthy fats, all those good things, things which are grown in nature predominantly, not things that come in packages and are made in factories. So these foods are much less likely to cause us to gain weight. Other foods, refined carbohydrates, the processed foods, the sugars, they are much more likely to cause us to gain weight. So the answer is not in counting calories, it's in measuring the quality of the foods that you're eating. And I took this from a book called The Calorie Myth. And there are 4 ways in which you can look at the foods that you're eating to understand the quality of what you're consuming. And the first thing is satiation. So that goes back to the log burning analogy. Are you eating a log or are you eating some kindling? And so to put that into food context, for example, that big salad with some olive oil and some nuts and some seeds and avocado and maybe some tofu or some chicken or some prawns, something like that, that is our log. The other extreme, it could be a piece of toast with butter and Marmite. That is our kindling. Or a packet of crisps and a fizzy drink. Those foods are kindling. So satiation is really, really important. Is how that food is going to make us feel and how quickly we're going to be looking for the next snack or meal. So we want our foods to be well balanced. We want to be looking at our macros. We want to be checking that it's going to be filling and satiating, and that we leave the meal feeling not, full to busting, but we feel satisfied. That's so, so important. The other thing that we want to look at is how it's going to affect our hormones. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this further down the class, but what we eat affects our hormones. And this is really, really key to whether we are going to hold on to fat or release it. So we want to be checking that the foods that we're eating aren't spiking our insulin levels. And essentially, most foods, carbohydrates especially, are going to raise our insulin levels. So again, we're looking at the overall balance of our macros, making sure that we've got our proteins and our healthy fats so that the carbs that we consume don't spike our insulin, which will automatically put us into fat storing mode. We also want to look at the nutrient density of what we're eating. And so, for example, I could eat every single day for lunch, I could eat avocado on quinoa gluten-free toast. I love it. But if I look at the nutrients within that, whilst there are some good things going on, it's not complete enough. Where are my vegetables? Where's my fiber? Where's my protein? So I need to be looking at the overall nutrient density of what I'm consuming. There's nothing wrong with the avocado on toast, but there needs to be more to it than that. And plus, let's go back up to the satiation levels. That's probably not going to keep me full for very long. I might be hungry again in 2 hours. So I need to bulk out that meal. I need to have that with a soup or a salad or a stew or some lentils or something. And then the last thing to look at is the efficiency. Now, the efficiency means It's kind of a little back to front. So the efficiency means how efficient is that food at becoming stored as fat. So actually we want inefficient foods at this point, which are things like fiber, for example. So fiber, things like within complex carbohydrates within our vegetables, also within some cereals and I don't mean cereals as in breakfast cereals, I mean as in grains, chia seeds, things like that, things which are high in fiber. They actually, our bodies try to metabolize them, but they can't. And so we actually burn calories, not that we're interested, but we do burn calories trying to digest the fiber, which we can't, and then it's excreted out of us, which fiber also obviously has benefits for our digestion and all sorts of things. But so we want to look at how inefficient the food is at becoming stored as fat. And again, things like our refined carbohydrates, our sugars, they are going to be stored as fat much, much, much quicker and more efficiently than our proteins, our healthy fats. As long as we're not over consuming fat, then healthy fats are fantastic and so important to have plenty of in our diet. Even if you've been told that fat is the enemy, it's not. So those are just some ways in which you can look at your plate and evaluate how quickly you're going to burn through it, and whether it's a log burner or a little bit of kindling. So again, I hope that makes sense. So this is a quote from that book that I just mentioned, The Calorie Myth. And I can use a real life example for myself of where I took up this belief, and maybe you've had it as well. So back when I was early 20s, and I believed that I needed to restrict my calorie consumption. I needed to be as slim as I could be, and I did restrict my calories, and I also really paid attention to what I was burning as well, in terms of like going to the gym and watching how many calories I burnt on the treadmill. A pretty unhappy point in my life, if I'm honest, but I remember this exact scenario of sitting, and like I said, I would monitor how many calories I ate a day, and I would keep it to around 1,000 calories, which is obviously very much restricted, because on top of that, I was using energy by working out as well. And yes, it absolutely had an effect on my metabolism. For example, I don't know if they still exist, but I would eat a packet of Walker's Light. I don't know if they still exist. I think they were about 99 calories a packet. And I do remember thinking about it. I remember eating the Walkers because it was within, that was 100 calories that was in my 1,000 that I was allowed to eat. And thinking, why would I ever eat like healthy food when I can eat 10 packets of crisps instead? And this is what I think the diet culture, and I'm not going to name names, but like sort of bigger organizations, they've been at fault of giving this message out that it only matters how many calories you're consuming. It doesn't matter about the quality of the calories you're consuming. And this is just absolute, excuse my language, bullshit. So if you consume too many calories, your metabolism will rev up to use those calories. And if you consume too few calories, your body will then slow down to then slow your metabolism, and you will burn fewer calories. And this absolutely happens to every single person. So if you've ever been on a calorie restrictive diet and you've noticed that you've felt slower, you're more tired, you don't have energy, maybe you do lose weight, but maybe then it gets really hard to lose, you plateau and it gets harder to lose more weight. Because by the way, any diet you follow, the first week or so, you will lose weight. Whether that's you try going vegan, whether that's you try going keto, whatever you try, if you're making a change, normally in the first week or two, you will see some weight loss because you're changing things up. But then what happens is that you tend to plateau, and then if you've restricted your diet too far and you've affected your metabolism, then as you go back to eating your normal food, you will then go ahead and put back on more weight than you originally lost. So the flaw with calorie counting: evaluating your food primarily by its calories rather than its nutritional and metabolic merits can actually make matters worse and lead to more weight gain. So I hope I've made that clear, that counting calories is not an effective strategy. And again, just to use myself as an example, yes, I counted calories. Yes, I was very slim. But did that have overall impact to my health? 101%. I was constantly bloated. Even though I was very skinny, I probably looked like I was 6 months pregnant. I had issues with my skin. I had issues with my energy. And then as I started to heal and learn that food was nourishment and make changes, I then had to go the other end of the scale, where I had to binge eat for a while because my body had been on such a restrictive diet for so long. So then I binge ate for a year or so, which again is not a happy place to be. And then as I did find my balance again, I was aware that my metabolism was affected. And so this is all to say that yes, you can lose weight, but that's not a true indication of health. We often hear eat less and exercise more, right? Have you heard this? But I say eat better and exercise smarter. So do you remember I said at the beginning how to manage your weight without counting calories and spending hours at the gym? So again, this is a really common misconception that we can exercise our way out of a bad diet. Again, this is just not true. So I believe that we need to eat more of the right kind of foods and exercise less, but more intelligently and intensely. And this helps to balance our hormones, burn fat, and boost metabolism. So whilst I think I adore exercise, exercise is so important for many, many, many things. So it's fantastic for lowering your stress. It's obviously great for elevating your mood. It's good for building muscle and tone. It helps your circulation, and of course it helps with your heart health. But it's not efficient for burning calories. And again, the gym industry have created this by putting the calories that you're burning on the machines, right? And so it becomes about burning calories and this idea that you can exercise your way out of a bad diet. First of all, this is so inefficient because say we eat a chocolate bar and then go to work out. Let me know if you've ever done this. I definitely have had clients who've said to me, well, I ate the chocolate bar because I was going to the gym. This is a really false premise to work off because it takes so much more work to burn off the chocolate bar. You'd be just far better off not eating the chocolate bar in the first place. Conventional cardio build, so this, for example, is things like jogging, so going for a 40-minute jog, for example. Again, I'm not saying it doesn't have benefits. It does have benefits for relieving stress and, being outside in nature and that kind of thing. And so if you enjoy it, by all means, go ahead, please continue doing it. But just don't be under the illusion that this is going to help with your weight loss or your fat loss. So things that do help specifically for weight loss, they're short bursts of HIIT. That stands for high intensity interval training, and also resistance training, which normally means using weights, or you can also use your body weight. So these forms of exercise, they are really effective for helping us to burn fat and also to help us with using our metabolism correctly. But for overall health, I am all for going for lovely walks, going for a jog if you enjoy that, and throughout the day, being active, not spending your whole day sitting in front of a computer. Take the stairs when you can, be on if you're on a cool, stand up for it rather than sit down. And of course, as a yoga teacher, I'm all for the stress reducing activities of yoga and also the muscle toning aspects of them too. And so of course, with everything, there are always other side, things are not completely black and white. And when you have more muscle, yes, you do burn more calories. So there is always, other sides to the story. But of course, for time, I'm just keeping this argument simple and letting you know that for weight loss, the best activities you can do are HIIT. Not too frequently though. You do not need to be doing HIIT every day. That's going to have an adverse effect on your hormones, and it doesn't have to be an hour long for sure. Keep it to 10, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 3 times a week. And resistance training, again, is fantastic. You do not need to make this really long. Go for about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe twice a week. That would be ideal. So moving on now to a strategy that does work, and this is called the Principle of Crowding Out. So this is the first strategy that I want to offer you in terms of something that you can do that doesn't involve counting calories and doesn't involve spending hours in the gym, and doesn't mean that you need to be on any kind of a diet, and that is the Principle of Crowding Out. So essentially what you're doing is you're diverting your attention away from considering the number of calories within your food, and instead focusing on the quality of what you're eating. And remember, food is fuel, and every bite of food that you eat is information to your cells. And this is either going to help your body to be healthier or sicker. So let's go back to when I was in my early 20s and I was eating my packet of Walker's Light, and it was my 100-calorie allowance. Those nutrients that I was eating, you guys know, I know you know, that there's nothing in there. There's no goodness in there, right? It's refined carbohydrate, it's lots of salt, it's the wrong kind of fat, and it's going to not give me any satiation, it's not nutrient dense, it's going to pass through me incredibly quickly, it's going to burn as a kindling bit of firewood, not as that big log, and ultimately is going to lead to me being sicker and not healthier. So what we eat, every bite matters. And what I love about crowding out is that you don't need to focus on what you're not eating. You need to focus on what you are eating. And so when you're really focused on making your 2 meals, if you're intermittent fasting, which we'll move on to, or 3 meals, and potentially some snacks, when you're focused on making sure that the foods that you're consuming within those meals are of the highest nutrient density that you can manage in that moment of time, because, by the way, this is not about being perfect, never ever about being perfect, it's just about doing the best you can. So when that's your focus, you make so much less room for eating the crappier stuff. And also because you're satiated, you don't even want the crappier stuff. Maybe every now and again, but it's not the same. I promise you, once you get off the refined carbohydrate, the sugar roller coaster, and you implement what I'm teaching, you will feel so different. So foods that you should focus on consuming as the majority of what you're eating are vegetables, high quality proteins, good quality fats, low sugar fruits, whole grains, and legumes. And if that is making up the 80% of what you're consuming, I know, I have no doubt, I know you will feel amazing. And that 20%, don't worry. Like if it's a little bit of chocolate, if it's, a few, whatever it is that you fancy here and there, don't worry about it. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's about what you're doing the majority of the time. And so if 80% of the time you are filling up on nutrient-dense foods, really, you're going to just feel incredible. And this switches us from focusing on weight loss, focusing on calorie counting, on all that rubbish and instead viewing our food as nourishment. And this is freedom. This is what's going to make you feel amazing. So now I'm going to move on to why I love intermittent fasting, and I think you're going to love it too. So intermittent fasting is not a diet, and it's not about restricting calories. It's not about eating less. What it is about eating less often. So it's really natural for humans to fast. If you think about how recently supermarkets have come into our human existence, fridges and freezers, I mean, really, it's a very short time within our human history that we have the abundance of food available to us pretty much on a 24-hour basis. But that's not how it was, even a couple of hundred years ago. And so it's very natural for humans to fast. The opposite is also true. It is unnatural for humans to be consuming foods as frequently and in the amount that we are. And this wreaks havoc on our blood sugar levels and forces us to store food as fat. So the principle, before I move on to what intermittent fasting is, I recently ran a 7-day intermittent fasting challenge, and I think some of you who joined on that challenge are here with me now. And the participants had such fantastic, amazing results in really just a short amount of time. And you can read some of the results there on the slide, but I'll tell you other things that I see really commonly happen when I help my clients to use intermittent fasting as part of their toolkit. So weight loss, quite naturally the weight comes off, even if it's those stubborn last couple of kilos. Intermittent fasting is a really fantastic tool to use. Lowered inflammation, this is really significant. Many of us are really super inflamed, and again, that comes partly back to the quality of the foods we're eating, but it's also down to the fact that we're never giving our bodies a break, and we're never allowing the detoxification, and also for our gut and our microbiome, not allowing the body to do all the incredible things that it does, because we're interfering with what's natural, which is too fast. So you'll experience better digestion and less bloating. This for me has been what made me fall in love with intermittent fasting, was the less bloating, and for me it was the gut inflammation as well. You also will experience fewer cravings, a more balanced mood, and better focus. So these are all just such fantastic benefits. Now, the principle of intermittent fasting, it's a pretty simple one. Essentially, you fast for 16 hours and you eat within an 8-hour window. Now, of course, you can build up to that. If you're brand new to intermittent fasting, I recommend starting with 14 hours with a 10-hour feeding window, and then gradually building up to the 16 hours with the 8-hour feeding window. But today, for example, I've gone way beyond my 16 hours. I stopped eating at 7 o'clock last night, and I've not yet broken my fast other than drinking a keto coffee. And I don't even feel hungry, and I feel full of energy, and I feel very focused. And, I'm sure I'll feel hungry soon after this, but right now I don't feel hungry, and I don't know how many hours it's been, but it's definitely been over the 16 hours. So it is really easy to do once you get into the habit of it. And during your fasted state, during the 16 hours where you're not consuming foods, you obviously can drink water, you can drink herbal teas, you can drink black tea, you can also drink black coffee and keto coffee. And all of this I teach within the intermittent fasting protocol. So the basis of intermittent fasting is to help us to become fat adapted. So rather than using glucose as fuel, we're using our own fat stores as our fuel. How incredible is that? And this is actually natural. This is what was intended when our evolution was determined. So this means that rather than burning glucose for fuel, we burn our own body fat. And it's not about how much we eat. Within your 8-hour window, you can certainly eat the number of calories that you are supposed to eat for your size and etc. But it's about how frequently we are consuming foods. And this is the key, because the moment we can consume foods, our insulin levels rise, and it's impossible to burn fat when insulin is present. So imagine you're one of those people, or maybe you are, who thinks, I'll just have a banana for breakfast. That's just 100 calories. Fruit is healthy. That's a good idea. And I totally get your rationale. But unfortunately, the minute that you consume that banana, you have then raised your insulin levels, and you are now on your blood sugar roller coaster. And inevitably, 100 calories of banana, you're going to get hungry pretty quickly. And so you're going to be looking for that 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock snack. I'm pretty certain of it, because you've already started raising your insulin levels and then dropping your blood sugar levels. And so that is what's going to stimulate your appetite. So I've mentioned this word insulin quite a few times. I just want to explain what it is. It's a hormone, and it's produced when your blood sugar level is high. And this is important that you know that excess blood sugar is first taken to the liver for storage, but if the liver is full, the excess blood sugar will then get stored in your fat cells. So this is just important to remember. In a moment's time, I'll explain why. So why intermittent fasting is so effective, and I just absolutely love it. And if you were on the intermittent fasting challenge with me last week, pop a note in the chat saying that you loved the results that you got as well. So essentially, like I said, with the banana example, when we eat regularly, it stimulates appetite. So that old idea of consuming 5 small meals, not a good one, because insulin is triggered, which then ultimately, if there's not room in the liver, the food gets stored as fat. This leaves our blood sugar low because we've taken out the insulin, and our blood sugar levels then, taken out the glucose and stored them, and now our blood sugar levels drop. And then we feel hungry again. So the concept of eating every few hours ensures we are in permanent fat storage mode. That might be a little bit of an aha moment for some people. An over-triggering of insulin can lead to insulin resistance, which is the precursor to type 2 diabetes. And that then means that we need more insulin for every time we consume sugar. And that then leads to more fat storage and being continuously hungry. Do you see how this is such a vicious cycle? But when we stop eating so frequently, this is where the magic happens. Because although even within our feeding window, we may raise our blood sugar levels a little bit, if we're not over-consuming because we're concentrating on the quality of the foods we're eating, and we're looking for our satiation, we're looking for our nutrient density, we're looking to not raise our insulin levels, so we're concerned about our hormones, then we're really not going to lift those blood glucose levels so high. And so even within our eating window, we're not going to be on that blood sugar roller coaster. And it's incredible. Honestly, it's incredible what changing this habit of eating, for example, breakfast or eating supper, just making that change is going to have. It's amazing. So I want to lead on to now the third strategy, the benefits of cleansing, and how this can help you again to manage your weight more effectively and just to feel more confident and more comfortable in your body. So remember, just a few slides back, I mentioned that first of all, any excess blood sugar is taken to the liver. And if the liver is full, then the excess blood sugar is going to get stored in fat cells. So the key here is that we're helping our liver to be really healthy, and our other detoxification organs as well, so that they don't get clogged up. Think of a sink or a bathtub, and if you are running water through it and just water, you'll be able to keep running that water through it, right? But imagine that there's food in there, there's hair in there, and it's clogged up. Now the water is going to start to overflow. So this is what happens. Our detoxification organs are amazing and they are working for us every single day. But if they get clogged up, they can no longer do the job efficiently, and our body has to look for other ways to manage what's going on. So, signs that your detoxification organs need some additional help. These are what we call chronic conditions, things that you may not think of as a big deal. You might take an over-the-counter medicine to help band-aid, to mask the symptom. They're things like headaches, bloating, bad breath, constipation, sleep difficulties, puffy skin, and stubborn weight. So not things that you think of as a big deal, but over time, these things really add up. And they suggest that our detoxification organs are not doing their job efficiently. I should also have on that list, and I apologize, I don't, is skin breakouts. That's a very common sign that things are not going efficiently in our bodies. So I want you to think about when, if you're a gardener, maybe you know this for yourself, that if a tree or a plant or a flower, if something's not going quite right, you don't look to the outside of it. You go down into the roots and you look at what the soil's doing, and you look at what nutrients that flower or plant or tree is absorbing. And we need to do the same with our body. We need to think of those things like the skin breakouts or the bloating or the difficulty with digestion. We need to think of those as the outer leaves. And not mask it with taking a painkiller or taking a indigestion tablet or something like that. We want to look at what's going on beneath that to get to the root cause of what's really happening. And really, in order to do this effectively, we need to step back and we need to take that bigger picture and hit the pause button and stop doing the same things that we're doing day in and day out. Because typically we're just working on autopilot. Our subconscious is just doing what it's doing, and we're not often even aware of those habits that we've created. So we need to step back, look at our habits, and release the ones which are no longer serving us. And I just want you to know that your health is about so much more than what you eat. I have spoken quite a lot about the importance of our nutrients and what we're consuming. And yes, that is so, so important and really crucial. But our health is more than just what we're eating. It's also our environment. It's the thoughts that we're thinking. It's the products that we're using on our skin, the things that we are breathing in, and also paying attention to the habits, which are pretty often our unconscious behaviors. So our health is made up by more than just the foods we're consuming. And I say this to my clients: you can eat as much kale and as much broccoli as you like, but if there's another part of the jigsaw puzzle that's not fitting into place, you will continue to have undesirable things going on in your body. So remembering that our body is a whole picture, and we need to look at it holistically and not just focus on just one little part of it. And toxins are everywhere. So in our modern day lives, toxins are everywhere. They're in the foods that we eat, the air that we breathe, the products that we use. And unfortunately, although our detoxification organs are working really hard, there's just too much for them to do. And so this constant process of detoxification necessary to maintain optimal function, our bodies are just struggling and they're getting tired. And so we're no longer at that optimal function. And so that's when we start to see those little but chronic issues that pop up. So there's some baggage that can come with the word detox. It's really not a big deal. To detox just means to help eliminate those toxins from your body, to help those detoxifications do detoxification organs do what they do naturally. So just to give them some support so that they work really efficiently. And this is just to help them out because there are just so many toxic substances within our environment, some that we can do things about and others that we can't. So an efficient detox program, it helps to 1, flush out impurities, 2, to boost body function, 3, to help you have a clearer mind, and 4, to free up energy for proper healing. So this is the good news. Like I've said, our bodies already know how to rid themselves of toxins, but they're not always able to do the job effectively. Because sometimes this could be decades worth of buildup. The good news is when the right conditions are created, the right environment, think about, for example, a goldfish in a bowl of water. It can be magically just so much healthier if you simply take it out of the dirty water and put it into clean water. Suddenly all those symptoms that the goldfish was having go away because now the environment has changed. And just the same for our bodies. When we take out what's not serving us, when we release some of those toxins, and when we help support the detoxification organs, everything runs like clockwork, with the result that toxicity can be contained enough and reduced to achieve vibrant health. And this is what we all want, vibrant health. So there are 2 parts to an effective detox, and the first is to stir up the accumulated waste. And as I said, sometimes this is decades old, and we help to do that through detoxifying foods and also taking out perhaps some of those habits which have been clogging up the system. Then we have to eliminate them safely, and this is key because we don't want to just stir up those toxins and have them floating around in our bloodstream. We need to eliminate them safely, and we do this through various detoxification rituals, which, by the way, are not scary things. They can be just as simple as drinking enough water, and also with the aid of supplements, it can be very, very helpful. So I believe it's time to reframe the weight loss debate, and instead of obsessing about the visible impact of extra pounds and just thinking about it from a vanity point of view, we should see them as warning signs that a mechanism inside our body needs attention. So if you are overweight or feel lethargic, moody, and sick most of the time, there's a good chance that something is biochemically broken. And there is no amount of willpower that will help you to lose weight until you identify and resolve the underlying health issue. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that you can see that really my message isn't about losing weight for the sake of losing weight. It's so that your body, what it really means is that your body is working super, super well. And that is what leads you to feel confident and comfortable because you feel great. And that's the key. So I see 2 paths that you can take. You can either keep doing what you're doing, and remember the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, or you can try something new because nothing changes if nothing changes. So I would love to invite you to join the Cleanse Restore Detox program, which is run by me and my friend and nutritional therapist, Gus Reimer. In this course, we will guide you step by step. We truly will hold your hand as you make changes to your diet, your mindset, and your environment to set you up to have the healthiest 2021. And I'm not talking about starting this now in December. This is for January, so you're thinking ahead of time. And I just want to share with you Sarah's results. So this is a lovely friend of mine, and she participated on the cleanse. And this was the second time she did the cleanse, because once you are in, you're in for life. So you can repeat the cleanse with us as often as we run it, which is 3 times a year. So I think this was her second time going through the cleanse, or maybe even her third. And she said another 30-day cleanse and she feels really good. She added in a supplement this time that she thinks made a real difference. She shifted from being a 9. At the beginning of the cleanse, I always ask you to rate yourself from 1 to 10 and to then see where you get at the end of the cleanse. So she shifted to a 9. She was consistent with her stretching and exercising, and she loves that the cleanse helps to instill new habits. She felt mentally energized and emotionally good. She was very happy with the added bonus of her jeans fitting more comfortably, and she thanks me and Gus for all the guidance. So in the detox, you will experience the benefits of intermittent fasting. Now, I should clarify, there are 2 paths that you can take within the cleanse. You can choose to take the path of intermittent fasting, or you can choose a different path, which is to consume a smoothie for breakfast. So you do have the option, if you don't feel like you want to use intermittent fasting, then you don't have to. But I, of course, highly recommend that you try intermittent fasting. You will help to heal your gut. You will lower inflammation. You will learn how to nourish your body with delicious and nutritious foods. So that's the principle of crowding out. We will not be forcing you to take out everything that you love. You get to choose what it is that you want to focus on, and you get to choose what you're going to eat and not eat. And of course, we have suggestions for you, but ultimately you get to do what you want to do. Seamlessly, you will release old habits and create new ones. You will lose unwanted weight, gain energy, and have glowing skin, which are all signs that your body is working optimally and that your detoxification organs are doing what they're supposed to do. And this is for life. You will learn in our cleanse that this is not a short-term fad. This is what you will end up wanting to continue to do, not just for the month of January, but forever. And if you ever find yourself veering back to old habits, then you'll just rejoin in one of our cleanse and pick up some new good habits. So it's a 30-day online program. It's actually a little longer than 30 days because we have a prep stage, but the program itself is 30 days long and will guide you step by step to transforming all aspects of your lifestyle. We also include a weekly live Q&A, a weekly live yoga class. We're adding in the additional benefit of this cleanse, we've not done this before, of having a WhatsApp broadcast group. Now, a broadcast group means that you only hear from me and not everyone's replies. So I will be messaging you every morning with little reminders and accountability messaging, and you won't hear from everybody else. I will, but you won't. So this is a brilliant way that you'll have close contact to me. And as I said, you have lifetime access. So once you're in, and you can repeat it as many times a year as we run it. And you have the option to join with or without supplements. So I just want to give you an idea of the supplements that you could take. So this is called the Cleanse and Restore Kit. And it is amazing, and it will definitely take some of the heavy lifting of the program out. So it's going to make everything a lot easier for you, but by no means do you have to take the supplements. If you're not sure that supplements are for you, you can join without supplements. I think that they make all the difference, but you'll still gain fantastic results without them. So within the Cleanse and Restore Kit, I'll just run through them really quickly. You get what's called the Lifelong Vitality Pack. These are incredible supplements that I actually take daily. And in them, you have all of your vitamins and minerals. You have your omega fatty acids, which are so important to help with inflammation, to help with brain health, and to help with your hair and your skin, your nails. You also get something to help at a cellular level to help with energy. You also get the GX Assist. Now that's what Sarah mentioned just a slide back. This helps to cleanse your GI tract of any pathogens or funguses that may be causing some issues within your gut. So if you have any reason to think that you have candida, maybe you frequently get thrush, anything like that, this supplement is incredible. And then we move on to take the probiotics after we've taken the GX Assist. So first of all, we get rid of those weeds, and then we repopulate the microbiome with our probiotics. And these probiotics also contain prebiotics, which are what feed the probiotics. You can also take digestive enzymes. These are a game changer. So what digestive enzymes do, and again, we do produce digestive enzymes naturally, but as we age, we produce less of them, and also depending on the foods that we eat, our digestive enzymes cannot work as effectively. So taking a digestive enzyme before you eat, what it helps to do is to break down the nutrients within our food, because we're actually not what we eat, we're what we absorb. And sometimes we might be eating a really great diet, but we're not absorbing those nutrients. So digestive enzymes are incredible. And especially if you experience bloating after meals, I really recommend you try digestive enzymes. You also get a lemon essential oil. This is fantastic to help gently cleanse the body. We recommend that you take a drop in your water a few times a day, and it tastes delicious and helps you to drink more water. And drinking more water is a key part of the cleanse. You also get the detoxification blend. This is going to help to support your detoxification organs to do what they do naturally. As I mentioned before, that is so important. So this blend is just going to help to gently cleanse and release those toxins from those organs. And then finally, the DDR prime. This stands for DNA damage repair. This is to help your cells at a cellular level to be really healthy and to be really well. And let's just say that everything starts at the level of your cells. So any disease that comes into your body, it starts at the level of cells. So taking care of your cells, because we are basically just a walking bag of cells, we want to take care of those guys, because that's what we're made up of. So you are welcome to join the cleanse, as I said, without supplements, and that is £97, or with supplements, and that is £250. And if you'd like to go ahead and purchase, you can go to breatheeatmeditate.com/cleanse and choose which tier, with or without supplements. If you already have a doTERRA account, that's where the third party who send out the supplements. If you already have a doTERRA account, just go to breatheeatmeditate.com/doTERRA cleanse, and you'll get the information that you need to join. So what you get access to the 30-day, like I said, it's 30 days plus, because we've got the prep stage, 30-day Cleanse and Restore program, with the option to add in the Cleanse and Restore supplements. And as a bonus, if you purchase the cleanse, either option with or without supplements, before the 20th of December, which is next Sunday, you get an online healthy cooking class with me. And this will be a Zoom class, which I'm so excited to teach. And it's going to be really fun. And I'm going to show you how you can eat really, really delicious, nutrient-dense foods. So you get in the cleanse, you get an incredible ebook full of amazing recipes. And in the healthy cooking class, I'm going to be showing you how you can make these recipes. So I'll just show you how simple it is. Both Gus and I are mums. We know what it's like to have lots on our plate. And so we've made sure that the recipes are really simple and easy, but of course delicious, and also nutrient dense as well. So in that cooking class, I'll show you how easy it is, and it'll be really fun to cook together. So this is a testimonial from a past cleanse participant. And so when she was asked for what benefits she got, she said so many. Better diet, improved self-confidence. She didn't realize that 5 years of baby weight was getting her down. The awareness that with the right diet and amount of water, that my cravings for things have stopped, and she's loving learning about meditation. It is possible to spend more time looking after myself despite the busyness of life. She's grateful that after she had an accident, now the brain fog and the headaches and migraines have mostly resolved themselves since doing the cleanse. And she plans to carry on with the 80-20 principle And I repeat often during the cleanse, it's about progress, not perfection. And she loved the raw chocolate that we teach you how to make. Now, as a thank you bonus, I mentioned at the beginning that there was a thank you bonus to anyone who registered for the masterclass. And so your thank you bonus is a 45-minute one-on-one nutrition consultation with me if you join the cleanse before Monday night. So this is only available to those who registered for the masterclass, and many people will be watching the recording who couldn't come live, so I need to give them a little bit of time to join if they'd like to and get to listen to the recording. So I've given you until Monday night to join the cleanse and receive this additional bonus of a 45-minute one-on-one nutrition consultation with me, which you can use either before the holidays, or you can use it after the cleanse in February, or even later than that. So there's no time limit on when you need to use this. It's yours for when you're ready. So join now for these two bonuses, the online healthy cooking class with me, and also the 45-minute nutrition consultation with me. And as I said, to go and enroll, go to breatheeatmeditate.com/cleanse or breatheeatmeditate.com/doTERRA cleanse. And this is another testimonial from a past cleanse participant. She said, it was fantastic. She learned so much. She never expected to eat as cleanly as she did or lose the weight that she did. This is a common thing that we hear during the cleanse, is that people are so surprised at the amount of weight that they lose. And like I said, this is just because our detoxification organs are working optimally and efficiently, and we're focused on the principle of crowding out, and potentially you're adding in intermittent fasting. And so all of these together, they just work incredibly well and so seamlessly and easily. And she's surprised that the food she ate wasn't totally dissimilar to my normal diet. And she was amazed at the difference made simply by eating differently and in different proportions. The guidance from both of you was invaluable. The knowledge you shared inspired confidence. And she was surprised that her blood sugar levels have stabilized after almost a lifelong battle with them. And the yoga and the Q&A sessions were invaluable. Thank you. And just to say, if you come and join the cleanse and you don't feel like the content's right for you, we will give you a refund if you require a refund within the first week of us starting the cleanse. So you can join risk-free and know that you'll be eligible for a refund if you don't feel like it's for you. And I know we're talking about this in December, and that's a little tricky because we've got the holidays ahead of us, and this is something for January. So you just have to think ahead, and your future self will thank you for joining when you come to January and you've got a plan, and it's going to be so incredible. So yeah, I really hope that you got value from everything that you learned in this class. And I would love for you to join the cleanse if you feel that it's the right thing for you. Now, of course, I'm going to answer any questions that you might have. I'm just going to look at the chat. I will stop my video. Oh no, not stop my video. I'll stop my share. And then, did that work? Hopefully you can still see me. There we go. Let's see what's in the chat. Okay. So Serena, so I'm thinking that you're saying from the intermittent fasting challenge, you got more success, more benefits than you possibly count. That's fantastic. Oh, maybe you're talking about diets, more than you can possibly count in terms of diets. What are macros? So macronutrients. So 3 macronutrients are carbs, proteins, and fats. And of those, proteins and fats are the more important of the 3 of them. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Tom. You replied. Serena might eat the chocolate bar and forget going to the gym. Brilliant. So that's a benefit that you got from intermittent fasting. You lost 1.7 kilograms. I think that might be Sarah on Tom's account, maybe. Sarah, you can't recommend the cleanse enough. My husband did it too, and we still continue with the healthy eating habits. Brilliant. Yeah, so another Sarah, you did the cleanse at the beginning of this year and the benefits have been long lasting. It's changed my mindset and now I have a much healthier diet as a result. I thought I was eating a healthy diet before, but I actually didn't really. Yay, and your whole family are benefiting. Amazing. Serena, you like the bonuses, fantastic. Jane, will I have to buy lots of new foods? Well, to be honest, that depends what you're currently eating. So that's a hard question for me to answer without knowing what your fridge and pantry currently look like. Maybe you'll be buying some foods that you're not used to buying, but mostly it's going to be lots of vegetables. It's going to be about looking at the quality of your proteins, the quality of your fats. So yeah, I don't know quite how to answer that without knowing exactly what you're eating at the moment. If you're eating, you know, McDonald's and chocolate every day, I know you're not, but if that's what you were eating, then yes, you're gonna have to buy some new foods, I'm afraid. Serena, will we end up spending a lot more on organic style foods? Fantastic question. Let me just have a sip of water. So, we do recommend that you eat organic. Yes, that is one of our recommendations, and not something that you have to do 100%. And yes, you can, we help you to discern what's more important to eat organic and what's less important to eat organic. I don't think you'll end up spending more because I think overall you will be consuming less food, but in terms of you won't be snacking all the time and that kind of thing. And I think just with a couple of small shifts, you won't find that your budget increases in terms of what you're spending on food, because really it's just a shifting of how you do things. And so if anyone on here who's been in the cleanse has anything to say about that, please pop it in the chat if you feel that you started to spend more on food than you did before the cleanse. What I would say though is, again, just look at that mindset, because as far as I'm concerned, what is more important? Is a new jumper or a Netflix subscription more important than the fuel and the foods that I'm feeding my body? Not in my opinion. And so we want to be careful that obviously we are honoring the importance of the foods that we're consuming. And so I think with this comes a little bit of mind shift of really valuing the importance of a healthy body and really being wanting to nurture and nourish it. And so spending money on food feels like a really, really good investment, because somewhere along the line, you're going to spend the money. And whether it's on the food that you consume now or on the medication and the hospital bills that will come later down the line, somewhere it's going to happen. So I would say don't worry too much if you're, you can still be very mindful about your food budget, but what you're investing in is for the long term, and I think it's worth it. So Sarah, who's coming up as Tom, says, I don't think I spent more, but I was more selective. Okay, yeah, amazing. Jane wants to know, how do you help people with cravings? This is a fantastic question. And we do have a whole day devoted to talking about cravings. And then later down in the cleanse, we have a part of the education is around emotional eating and more of the mindset and how we're thinking about food. So we do help people with cravings on a physical level. So because cravings can be many things, but on first of all, and most of all, what happens is that people who are having cravings is because they're eating the wrong foods. And so as soon as you make the switch to eating the satiating foods, the foods which are not raising your insulin, etc., very naturally those cravings diminish. If you also put in that mix intermittent fasting, that's also going to help with cravings. And so with everything we suggest, I would say probably 90% of people just naturally experience less cravings. And that's not to say that you won't ever get a craving. And if you do, that's fine, because remember, this isn't about blowing something. You can't blow it. You can't, this isn't about being black and white. So you can surrender to your craving and have a little bit of something without worrying that it's a big deal. So I had my period earlier this week, and very, very rarely will this happen to me, but I just felt like I needed a little bit of sugar. And I eat 90% dark chocolate every single day. But on this occasion, I didn't want the 90% dark chocolate. I wanted something a little bit sugary. And so I did. I had something a little bit sugary. My girls had been given something from school, and I ate it, and done. That was exactly what I needed. And I had that little hit of sugar, and then I moved on, and I've not repeated doing that again. So once you're feeding your body with the right foods, you will really rarely actually get any cravings. And when you do, you just respond to it, and more than often that's just it. Then you can move on from it. So yeah, there are some other things that we recommend as well. Again, it's along the lines of helping to stabilize your blood sugar levels. And yeah, we definitely support you in this area. It's something that will, if you're experiencing cravings, again, is showing you a sign that something's not going right, and it's something that you can very easily just be free of those cravings, because I know how crappy it feels to have those cravings. So again, if you're just filling up on the right macros and the right nutrients, then your cravings will almost magically disappear. Sarah, you say, we definitely made some swaps with the foods we consume, but cost-wise it seemed to even out. Yeah, we invested in buying things like lots of quinoa, nuts, grains, which lasted a while, rather than and then a weekly a lot more veg. Yeah, and veggies, don't tend to be very expensive anyway, do they? And yeah, we definitely encourage you in the cleanse to mainly focus on your veggies. So actually a vegetarian diet tends to be a lot less expensive. Not that we force you to be vegetarian, but we do ask you to focus on your vegetables. Oh, Nikki, you put a nice comment in the Q&A. Thank you. Right, well, I think those are all of the questions, unless anyone's got any other questions, and I'm happy to stay on and answer them. But if you don't have any more questions, then that is the end of today's masterclass. And again, I am just so grateful for you joining me live. And I really hope that you took a lot out of it. Even if you don't join me for the cleanse, my intention was that this would be like full of information that you could already go and implement. Yes, Jane, I can put the link in the chat. I do know when I used the link on my phone earlier, it went to my homepage rather than the exact page. If it does go to my homepage, you can just go to the menu, and under Work With Me, that you'll see the Cleanse and Restore Detox program. So if you happen to go to the homepage, just go to Work With Me, and then go to Cleanse and Restore Detox, and then you'll see the option for joining the cleanse there. And if you've got any questions that you want to ask me privately rather than in a group, then of course just go ahead and email me.